Good morning. How is everyone? I'm debating whether I need to turn the light on today or not. It might be all right. If you find it a little bit difficult to see, then just say, babe, can you turn the light on? And I'll go turn the light on. Because I feel like it's all right today. It's nice and sunny. I've probably jinxed it. But yeah, it looks nice out. It looks like it might be nice out. So, oh, fingers crossed. Okay, so today we're going to do these two pots right here. Okay, so this one we're going to do a weaving. Not as tiny and itty bitty as this one. It's much, much bigger, and it's a double lined weaving. That's not the technical word for it. It's just regular weaving. But instead of doing one line up and one line across, we're going to do two lines right next to each other and then two lines across next to each other. So the stitches will be a little bit thicker, and it makes it look almost like a weaving, obviously, because it's a weaving, but it almost makes it look like I don't know, like one of those rattan baskets or something, you know? And then here we're just going to do easy peasy satin stitch. And then these are actually split stitches because I did the same wood grain effect with the dark color, but you can't see it. So I'm going to go a little bit lighter. So these two are what we're going to be focusing on today. Just search sticky solvy or water soluble stabilizer and you'll find loads. So just go ahead and Google it. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to do the one before I do the one in front of, because that way we can cover up any lines if they go a little bit too far or a little bit haywire, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to use this really light, it's actually a light yellow, but I don't know. It's another one of those no number ones that I have from ages ago. I'm just trying to use them all up so that I can it might actually be the same color that I used for this blanket, but I don't mind. It's okay. All right, so with these here, business secrets. Not at all. It's just there's lots of different ones that you can get. Okay, so what you're going to do is do two lines. Two lines up or two lines down. So it doesn't matter which one you do first. It just depends on which way you're comfortable with. I tend to do the up and down lines first so I can work side to side. They do have a technical name. It's the warp and the weft, and one of them is one of them, and one of them is the other one. But I always get them mixed up. So the up and down lines, I tend to do those first, but you can do the sideways ones first too if you'd rather work up and down. So it just depends on what you like. So what we're going to do is space these out a little bit, because unlike the other ones, these ones here, we wanted those to be like quite tight together, whereas these ones, it doesn't really matter as much. So I'm just going to go in a little bit from the side here, and I'm going to start at the very, very top. And I like to go in a bit and not start right on the line, because then when you go down for the horizontal lines, when you weave it, when you go down, you can go down right on the line and then cover those lines up. Whereas if you start with the first weaving line right on the line, then you have to go either farther than the line to go down, so you have to go out on the other side of the line, or you have to kind of, tuck it up under there. Vertical and horizontal lines. Yeah, so when you're weaving, one is called the warp and one is called the weft. But I can never remember which one's which. And sometimes when I'm smarter, I look it up before I do this so that I can tell you and sound super, super smart. But I didn't this time. So There you go. So remember I said we're going to do 2 instead of just 1. So you're going to do another stitch right next to that 1 stitch. Literally right next to it. So we want it to be like, almost like you're going to do a satin stitch. Warp is vertical. There you go. So we're doing the warp right now. I always get them mixed up. And I remember we had to take a class called Crafts and Art to be a teacher. And we had to do weaving for, I think it was like 3 weeks. And I kept getting them mixed up. And she was like, you're going to have to teach them this. And I'm like, I know. I will remember. I'm just getting it right next to there. Now, I like mine a little bit spaced out. You can see I left a little space in the middle between those two. And they'll get a little bit closer when you start the weaving. They'll kind of be like pushed together, if you know what I mean. Now, if you don't like to go left goes left to right. Oh, that is really smart. So if you don't want to go right next to the stitch like I've been doing, so kind of going over one and then up, you can just go to the top again and make it. If that makes it better / easier for you. And if you feel like you can get them a little bit closer together that way, then that's okay too. And as my dad always says, we're not being graded. So, you know, if they're a little bit like, ooh, it's okay, because we'll fix it with the other weaving. All right. Now, the closer that you get to this other plant and this other planter, you might have to kind of make up a couple lines, meaning they won't go all the way down. So you might have to like piece together where it goes. So like this one here, I could go one all the way up and then one kind of half, or I can just start both of them at half so that I don't have to go around them. So I'm going to do it like this. Now, if you put yours closer together, then yours will look a little bit different than mine. Or if you put yours farther apart, then yours will look a little bit different than mine. Okay? That's all right. So don't be like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. It doesn't look the same. It's okay. You might get more than 6. So remember, because we're doing 2 at a time. Yeah? I've got, 5.5, I guess. You might have 8. You might have 4. It just depends on how close together you put these. Now, when we go to, I annoy myself, you know, because I say the same thing all the time. Now what we're going to do next? Now, like I said, hi, George. All right, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the weaving just like we did up here. But instead of going every other one with each of these 2, we're going to treat the 2 as 1. So we're still doing every other one weaving, but each 2 of these that I've put together are going to count as 1 part. So we're just going to shimmy that up like that. And we'll do a little outline if you need to. Or the little like dirt. So I mix 2 colors together and make the little dirt on the tops of the pots. We'll do that on the details day. But when you do your little dirt, it'll cover up all of these little bits too. So don't be like, oh, I can't get up far enough. It's okay. And then you're going to go straight down. Now remember, we're going 2, okay? So we did 2 down, and we're going to do 2 across. So this next one, you're going to do exactly the same thing as you did before. So we're not doing every other one with this next one. You're going to do exactly the same. So if you went under the first time, you're going to go under again. Just like that. Amelia says she poked herself in the finger so many times doing the blanket yesterday. Oh, dear. Okay. Ooh, my brick is not centered, maybe. Now, we'll go back and do the other way. Now, obviously, because I keep going back to the right side, I'm wasting a lot of thread because going left to right is not, I don't do it amazingly, okay? I'd rather go right to left because I can do it a little bit faster. And I think that my stitches look a little bit nicer. Okay, so for this next one, you can decide if you want to have more like an open, airy feel to your basket, or if you want to make it like, bam, there's the next one, bam, there's the next one. So if you had it really close together, it would be like this. And if you wanted it a little bit farther apart, it would be like that. So it just kind of depends on how you want it to look. So I've actually got more space in between mine. So I'm going to make the ones going down fill all the way. I'm not going to put any space between them. And it just depends if you want to see through your basket or not. And then remember, because I have some that are only half the way, if your thread goes that far, then you'll have to deal with that as you get there. Do you know what I mean? So maybe the first one you only have 5, but the next one you have 6, or maybe one of them has 6 and the other one has 5. Because remember, we're doing 2 for each one. So you might come to a point where one of the weft, from left to right, that's so perfect, will cover one of them, but one of them won't. Do you know what I mean? Hi, trees. That's my neighbor. So we just keep going. Just making sure. The only thing that I get confused about with this is because we're doing 2, I always want to make sure I do every other one, like if we were to just do 1. But because we've doubled it up, sometimes I go to do the second one and I'm like, oh, wait, that's wrong. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Oliver the cat wants to watch too. Cute, cute. Oh no. Oh, I hate it when that happens. This makes a much thicker basket than if you were to just do one strand of warp and one strand of weft. So like you can experiment if you want to. You don't have to do exactly the same as me. You can try 3 or 4 if you want to. Make it a really nice chunky basket. And you might need to adjust some of the threads, like if you see me kind of moving them around, because they are just hanging over the top. So they're not really secure anywhere except for the top and the bottom. So in the middle, you might get a little bit of like movement. Man, dragon this morning. The basket is beautiful. Probably because it's the middle of the night, Mel. And you should be in bed. Okay, I'll do this for a little bit more and then we'll go and start the other one. Because this is, in essence, the entire thing. Allergies got me so congested I couldn't breathe. Oh no. Do you have like a daily medication for that? Or do you just take it like when you need it? I feel the same. I just got my second vaccine shot. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Congrats, though. And then, like I said earlier, you'll notice on the edges, you can see all of like the little pokes, like all these little things here. So if you want to, you could do a little outline there if you don't like to see that. But on this side, it's going to be all covered up with the plant. So everything there, we don't need to outline on that side because it's going to be covered up right on the edge. I think I can do one more with this one. Oh, Jessie heard somebody. I actually like that look. Yeah, if you like the look on the side, then that's totally okay. But I know some people, they love it outlined. So if it's not outlined, they feel like it's like not done. Do you know what I mean? Like they almost feel like because you can see the sides. So it just depends on what you like. So that's why this one's a little bit, this stitch along's a little bit tricky because there's a lot of things that you get to choose for yourself, not just the colors. But really, thanks. But you just couldn't wait for that, could ya? Yep, keep going. Oh. Jessie. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Go all the way down. Okay. I'm going to get started on the next one because I don't want you to have 40 minutes of this and then not know how to do this. This one's really easy though. It's just pick whatever color you want and we're going to do Thirsty Girl. Yeah, right? And we're going to do a satin stitch sideways. So we haven't actually done a satin stitch yet. We did the straight stitches up here, but they are more just filling, like just to fill in the spaces. So we haven't really done like a proper satin stitch. So what we'll do with this one is learn satin stitch. So what I like to do with satin stitch is make some little lines. So in essence, satin stitch is just straight stitches that are all next to each other. They are all parallel and they never touch. So unlike my wonky fingers, they should be right next to each other. So no gapping. So nothing like this. They should be right next to each other. And they should be parallel. Parallel means that it's two lines and they're never going to touch. They're never going to intersect. So you want to make sure that your lines are nice and straight. So I used 4 strands on this one. I didn't find those pens yet. And I'm going to use this like purpley red color. And I am going to take the 2 strands out because I want it to lay a little bit smoother than full 6 strands. So let's just take these out. Yeah, that's a good number. No, I didn't look yet, Mel. Actually, I was planning the advent calendar. Shh, don't tell anybody. And trying to see if I can fill out all of the days or if I need to do like a 12 days of Christmas type thing. So that's super exciting. You heard it here first. It's going to be so fun. So my only worry is that I'm going to have to launch it like pretty soon, like in the summer, for delivery before December 1st. And I'm worried people are not going to purchase something for Christmas in like June or July. Okay. Yeah, it's going to look so pretty on the green, isn't it? Oh, I love that. I'm going with like pretty much the same colors as the other one. Just mixing them up a little bit and adding some. But like the rusty, like autumnal, like those kinds of colors. And then also the lighter end of that because my fabric is so dark. I'm not going to get away with nice, dark, rich colors. So with the satin stitch, I love to start in the middle. I don't know why, but it just makes everything nice and even. So I'm going to do that here as well. I'm going to go right in the middle. Again, 4 strands. Ooh, getting a bit ropey there. Okay, a regular satin stitch is you come up on one side and go down on the other side. Now, I tend to like to go up on the side that's free so I can stick to the line here. I can keep it nice on the line. Whereas this side, if I need to come up through these threads, sometimes it gets a little bit, not wonky, but sometimes you just can't tell as much. So I like to go down through these threads if I need to. Okay, but it looks like I kept this pretty straight, so I should be able to go just up to this line, and it should be fine. Again, you can always do a little outline on this if you want to, like 1 stitch on each side to make them a little bit straighter, but you don't need to. So we're just looking for nice straight stitches all the way across. Do I need to turn the light on? Can you guys see that all right? I do have an overhead light that I normally turn on, but I left it off today. But if you can't see it so well, then let me know. So what you're looking for is nice straight stitches and parallel. There you go. Just hold my iPad there the whole time. Okay. So we don't want to have any like crossing like this, and we don't want to have any that leave gaps like this. Okay. Obviously, that's easier said than done sometimes, because sometimes you don't realize until it goes all the way in. That sounded bad. Sometimes you don't realize until you've actually done the stitch that, you know, it's like, whoa, that doesn't look right. Mel says it seems okay to her, so I trust you. Just got a knot, so that's fantastic. Oh, right in the middle. Why you gotta do me so dirty like that? Come on, man. I will say that the more times that you stitch, the more times that you get knots, the easier it is to untangle the knots, because you know what kind of knot it is. Please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks like that. Because 100% I'll be like, oh, it's the one where I can just pull it out, you know? And other times I'm like, oh no, it's a really bad one. Okay, so this is like a regular satin stitch. There's also the thread saver method of the satin stitch. And that is where you go up on the same side you just went down. So you end up saving thread on the back, because with satin stitch, the back and the front look exactly the same. So I'll do a couple thread saver methods, and then you'll be able to see how much thread it saves on the back. So you can figure out which part of these, which method works best for you. Some people love the thread saver method, and some people absolutely hate it. And there's lots of different reasons to love and hate it. I'm definitely going to put a little line there because it looks like I've gone around that thread instead of like through it. Or maybe I'm going a bit too far on these. I don't know. But I'll just put a little straight stitch there, and you'll never even know. You'll never even know. I'm going to do just one more. And then flip it over for you so you can see the back. Okay, so I've done half, okay? Satin stitch is easy peasy quick. So on the back, you can see where I did the thread saver method at the top. I went just kind of one stitch up, and then you can see the 3 that I did the regular satin stitch. So it's on the same on the front and the back. So you're using double the amount of thread. Okay? So that's the only downfall, I guess. I tend to do a mix of the two, because that way I can figure out where to best put my needle and where to make my next stitch, and not have to be so like solid on the plan of I have to go up on the left, I have to go down on the right. Like my next stitch has to be like this. Sometimes I like to just put it where I want to put it, you know? I don't want to have to think about like the rules necessarily of this is what you have to do. Like it might work better that you can put a stitch here, or it might work better that you want to put the stitch somewhere else. Hope that makes sense. Now, the other reason that I really like satin stitch, not only is it pretty quick, but if you make a little mistake, like there's I don't know if you can see it. There's a little gap right here. Do you see? You can just go back and put an extra one in. So the other good thing about using less than 6 strands, even though this is such a big hoop, is that if you need to go back and put an extra stitch in, it's really easy. Or if you made one a little bit sideways or whatever, you can go back and go, oh, okay, I'll just fix that. Okay, so let's just bang this out real quick. Another thing with satin stitch that you need to kind of watch out for is that if you're always going like right to left, right to left, right to left, and you're pulling quite hard, sometimes that can also make your fabric pucker together. So we really don't want to have that. Even with the sticky solvy, it can still happen. So make sure that you're making your threads taut, but not super tight. Does that make sense? You want them to lay over there and be quite snug. So obviously this is not tight enough because you can like flop it, you know? Do you know how many people are in the stitch along? I know how many people have bought the stitch along approximately. And it's about 200. But not everyone will start it at the same time, and not everyone will stick to the do you know what I mean? Like posting their photos and stuff. There's definitely less people posting than there usually is. But I know a lot of people, they just buy it and then they save it for later. Okay, so we've got a little plant stand here. Now this plant, oh God. Makes me want to shoot myself. That's awful, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, now the planter is actually modeled after my own planter. That's just, today's just being crazy. Right over there. I don't think you can see it actually. Nope, it doesn't go that far. It's right over there though, and it's like a turquoise color, like a bright turquoise. It's almost like this color, a little bit lighter. And it's got a really nice honey colored wooden frame, this thing that the plant stands on. Okay, so that's kind of how I drew it. I took a picture and then I traced the picture. But I've already used the honey color here, so I'm just going to use like a dusty brown, like a grayish brown. So it's not as warm as like the honey color that I used for the ladder. A little bit darker, but still not too dark, so you can actually see it on the fabric. So let me do a little knot over here. Definitely thought that the camera would turn so that you could see my planter. I got it from TK Maxx, and it was on clearance like 4 years ago. And it's got these like white zigzag things on them. It's like, it's not the cutest. Like, it's okay, but it's not like, I keep saying I'm going to paint it. I'm going to use 3 strands of this, and you can decide if you want to do big, long satin stitches again, or if you want to do a split stitch for this. If you want to make any kind of like wood grain pattern, like this one, then I would suggest the split stitch. And really quickly, a note about color. If you're gonna pick colors for these 3 things, for the plant stand and the 2 pots, make sure that the colors look good together, so that they're a little bit cohesive, yeah? Because they're gonna be right next to each other. So you kind of don't want something that's like, whoa, that doesn't go, you know? So from here, I should have done a little line on each side, but we'll see how it looks. So if you want to do the split stitch, we learned that yesterday. No, 2 days ago. And it's exactly the same. You're going to go back down into each stitch. Or up through each stitch. I'm using 3 strands for this. Does anyone have plans for the weekend? Anything exciting happening? Mel, nope. My friend Lucy from Lil's Parlor is opening Frosty's Palace next week, but she invited me to come tomorrow. So maybe I'm hoping that I can go there tomorrow and have a little taste of the ice cream and show you guys what she's got. So if you're in the Birmingham area, that'll be amazing. So you've got a little one here. So if you want to, you can do a little straight stitch at the top, sideways. I mean, more horizontal than that. That one looks a bit, but it's wood, okay? It's got that wood feature. Love Lucy. Yes. I can't wait to go next week. It's my mother-in-law's 90th birthday on Saturday, so we'll be going there in the afternoon for fish and chips and cake. Oh, that sounds so nice. And don't forget the little one back here too. This little guy. Because I almost just did. That'll be so nice. 90. I think my great-grandma was 96 or 94 when she died. And then let's do this one. I'm staying home and hopefully can knit and stitch. And then I'm going shoe shopping. Ooh. Sorry. For my 4 daughters. Oh my goodness. Shoe shopping for 4. Oh, Zoe lives right around the corner from Lil's Parlor. Oh, I didn't know that. We're just south of Kings Heath. So not super close, but not super far either. There we go. Almost finished. These videos are all about 40 minutes long. Sorry. The one thing I would say is try and keep the length of the 2 legs about the same, because otherwise it's going to look like a wonky planter. So try and keep these here about the same. I've made one of mine a little bit longer, so I can go back and make that one a little bit longer if I need to, if it looks a little bit impossible. So like there's a difference between it looking a little bit wonky and it being like an impossible thing. Like if it's a perspective thing, you know, then to me, it's like, oh, if it's like wallpaper, like this in the background, it's almost like it's okay if it's a little bit weird, because that could be how the wallpaper is. But if you've got one planter leg longer than the other one, how's that bad boy standing up? The answer is that it's not. It's falling over. Okay, so we can add some wood grain to this, just like we did with this other one. You can make it a darker color or a lighter color. That's up to you, or you can just omit it altogether. You don't have to put it in there. Now it's like leaning to the side. Stop while you're ahead, babe. Let's just cap this off and call it a day. And I will finish all the rest later. So there we go. Not as bad as I thought, actually. So you've got a couple decisions to make today on your own. Don't go out. There we go. So this is what we've got. I've obviously got to finish this here, this guy. And I've got to finish this, and I've got to finish this, and I've got to finish this. So yeah, I've got a lot of work to do this weekend, so I guess I won't be going anywhere. But that's all right. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Just a reminder that there's no videos on Saturday and Sunday. Those are just purely catch-up days. So if you want to do a bit of stitching and catch up, you can. If you do not catch up by Monday, then you're going to get a demerit and you'll be kicked out. I'm just kidding. That would never happen. I would never do that. Who knows if I'll even catch up by Monday. So there's that. Let's be honest. We're all busy. We all have things to do. If you love stitching and you want to do it, then fantastic. But if you're busy, then that's okay too. All right. Don't feel pressured by other people's hoops that you're behind or that you have to do it or that, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. Oh my gosh, I'm like frantic. Like, don't let that happen. Okay. Like, just take it easy. If it gets done, it gets done. And if not, that's okay too. All right. So hope you have a lovely weekend. Don't forget to tag me. Still on day 2, a lot to catch up. Oh, that's fine. Take your time. Don't forget to tag me at the Barmy Fox. Make sure you have that underline there so I can repost it on my stories and show everyone how amazing you guys are. And don't forget to use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL. And I will talk with you on Monday. All right. Enjoy and